In today's video, we're going to be talking all about the grip. We're going to talk strong, weak and neutral. And if you're here watching this video, hopefully you're here to identify which grip you have, but also understand the pros and cons behind each grip. Just because you're not neutral, it doesn't mean it's only a bad thing. You could have a really weak grip which can massively help with short game, or you could have a strong grip that can massively help you with ball flight and distance, but also those grips come as a price in other areas of the game. So we're going to be talking about strong, weak and neutral within this video. Before we get started, if you are brand new to my channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. There's lots of tips on here, 2 tips a week, but also a course vlog that you can learn how I approach golf shots and how I approach different types of scenarios, and in the meanwhile keeping score as well. So there's some good and there's some shockers on there as well, but hey, that's golf, isn't it? So cracking straight on, we're going to be starting with the strong grip, and that's the grip I see a lot of. And I've not got a glove on purely for this reason, so you can see my knuckles on my hand a little bit more clearly. So strong grip, I'm going to be right-handed golfer. We tend to see the lead hand more over the top of the grip, and as I look straight down, I can see 1, 2, 3, and 3 to 4 knuckles. But for me, the main telling point is this line between the index finger and the thumb, and it's going to be pointing outside and away from my body, okay? As the trail hand comes on, what I often see is golfers delivering this hand from underneath the grip, okay? Now, straight away, what's happening is we're gripping the club generally more towards the palm of the hand. The forearm is pointing straight up to the sky, and now as I look down I can see the fingernails of the right hand, and I can't see any knuckles at all on the underside of the right hand, for my right hand. So that's my strong grip. Now what I like about golfers with a strong grip is that they actually manage to keep the club face relatively strong through the swing, which in this instance, a strong club face generally leads to de-lofting the angle. As we may all know, de-lofting of the angle will help you get more distance. So if I de-loft my 9-iron into an 8-iron, the ball's going to go further. The negatives with the strong grip, particularly in short game, is it encourages the club on a short swing to make its way too far behind the body, and we come into the golf ball too shallow. Too shallow meaning the club never really hits down on the golf ball, never really compresses it. Sometimes within the long game, you're able to kind of get away with it a little bit more because you've got more time to maybe counteract that with a bit more lateral movement from the body to help you hit down on the ball. What we tend to see a lot with golfers that are using the strong grip for short game is that the swing becomes quite short, and then we end up with the club too far behind the body, like I said, and then you end up coming into the ball shallow, and you get that one that just kind of runs along the ground. You get that thin shot, which none of us really like at all, do we? So that is a big negative. So positive, it can give you distance. The negative, it can really encourage some poor short game, some poor wedge play. One of the other negatives for me is how it impacts on the swing, because you've kind of got one arm like this, which is in an unnatural position, and one arm like this, which is also in an unnatural position. So when we're trying to move the golf club around our bodies into it, which hopefully we started in a nice posture, but we've got 2 limbs in unnatural situations, we're going to have to manipulate throughout the process of the golf swing to get the club back to neutral, and obviously trying to create a nice golf shot. So for me, one of the key things about a decent golf grip, I'd never say perfect, because a little bit strong and a little bit weak is not an issue. It's when we go ultra of either side is generally the issue. So what we're going to try and do, if we look at the weak grip now, and what we'll see is basically the opposite. The lead hand will be more under the club, and you'll see the club sit more into the palm of the hand, and the trail hand will sit more over the top of the club, and that line we spoke about before with the index finger and the thumb will point outside of your body but to this side, and instead of seeing the fingernails, we're now going to see the knuckles as well. So you're going to see 3 to 4 knuckles on this right hand. The huge negative is exactly the opposite of what we've just discussed in the strong grip, where this grip position now creates an open club face, which if I grab my 9-iron and open the face and I generally will add loft. If I add loft through the golf swing and turn my 9-iron into a pitching wedge, that's right, the distance decreases. Now, if I stand over a little pitch shot with my nice weak grip and I'm able to kind of maintain the loft on the club face, I'm able just to pop the ball up nice and high. But also what I'm able to do on that takeaway from that weaker grip is be a little bit more on the outside and have an angle of attack that's a little bit more steep into the ball, as opposed to the strong grip, which was more behind the body and shallow. You're probably asking the question now, that's just popped into my head as well, should I have more than one grip? In short, the answer is yes, believe it or not. You can have a grip that's great for your long game and kind of keeping it relatively neutral and hitting some kind of really nice shots. But I often do this when I get in and around the green. I'll just get the feel that my right hand, my trail hand, just sits just a bit more. I don't do much with my lead hand, but my trail hand just sits a bit more on top of the club. It helps me stabilize and maintain the loft of the golf club through the swing. Like I said before, it helps me get a little bit steeper with the takeaway, which means my delivery angle into the golf ball is also a little bit steeper. So should you have more than one grip when you're playing golf? Yes. Hopefully this video has helped you identify whether you are weak or strong. And now the begging question is, what the hell is neutral? So neutral, lead hand, I often say use the bottom of your little finger, go through to the middle of your index finger, and then sit this little chubby bit at the end of your hand on top of the club, okay? I don't know why I call it a little chubby bit, it's not that chubby. All the while making sure you've stabilised the club face. I was brought up, and I love this one, I can hold a golf club with one finger. Look at that. I'm using the chubby bit and I've got one finger. Genius, isn't it? And from there, we're going to wrap around the hand and we're going to be able to see, as I look down, 2 knuckles on the lead hand, and that line now between the index finger and the thumb is going to point up to the trail shoulder, okay? My thumb is going to go down the side of the grip. It's not going to go down the middle, it's going to go just down the side of the grip, all right? The reason being, if I put my thumbs down the middle, it'll weaken this hand, but also this joint here becomes very restrictive. It becomes very restrictive for your wrist hinge, and as a result you end up doing the cupping of the wrist, which now opens the face, okay? So the grip angle is really important because obviously it's the only thing that connects you to the golf club. So if your grip is really incorrect, it's going to affect how you hinge or don't hinge, or on what angle you hinge, which therefore impacts hugely on the positioning of the club face during the setup, backswing, downswing, and obviously worst of all and most of all important, impact. So now that left hand is on, or lead hand, trail hand's going to come in, and we're going to do exactly the same. We're going to go bottom of the little finger to the middle of the index, and I go for an interlock grip where the index finger and the just kind of slots in between the little finger and the next finger. And I often try to tell my students to keep a bit of a gap between every finger. Try and use as much of that grip as you possibly can. Don't let your grip just take up as little space on it as possible. Let your hands use as much of this grip as you possibly can. So then you've got more control. So you'll notice I've got more of a gap there between the index finger and the next finger. So as I've done that now, what happens is the lifeline or the pad of my trail hand just nestles nicely into the thumb of my lead hand. And when I look down, I'm going to see 2 knuckles as well, but I'm also going to see a bit of symmetry between the line between the index finger and the thumb on the left and the right hand, okay? So that doesn't matter if it's lead or trail, because they're going to both be pointing parallel to each other up to the trail shoulder. That now is a weak grip. Sorry, that now is a neutral grip. That is not a weak grip, that is a neutral grip, okay? From a neutral grip, I can work the face for a nice open face if I want to hit more loft, or a more of an angle of attack if I want to hit down on the ball, or a better club face control. Also, what we're doing is we're getting the hand in a neutral position, which means the arms are in a natural position. Neutral, natural, those sort of buzzwords within your golf swing are really, really important to helping you become a better golfer. The more kind of oh, I'm strong or I'm weak. The more of those within your golf swing, the more your body the more your body has to manipulate that golf club to give you the best possible outcome for the golf shot. The more manipulations you have within a golf shot, the more trouble you're going to have in due course trying to hit consistently good shots. So we try and reduce the manipulations as much as possible. And I firmly, truly, honestly believe the better your setup, which is the easy bit, the golf swing is not even in motion. There's no moving of a golf club at 100 miles an hour. There's no power moves. There's no worry about hitting the strike. You're literally in a completely static position. When you do need to change your grip, I can honestly say it's horrendous, disgusting, awful, not enjoyable, hate it, but massively important to help you improve the rest of your golf swing, the fundamentals within your golf swing from there. If you want me to check your golf swing, if you want me to check your golf grip, subscribe to me on the Skillist app. It's completely free to do so. Follow me on there, drop me a DM. If you drop me a DM saying you've watched the grip video, I'm going to give you 15% off your first one lesson. Your first single lesson will give you a swing analysis and a bit of an idea of the drills that you can do to improve your setup and your grip and your whatever and your swing in general, to see if we can how we can make you a better golfer, and then maybe even start to plan our journey together from there. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the like, hit the subscribe. I can't wait to see you in the next one. But for now, I've got 150 to that flag. And I'll tell you this, I've got a lovely neutral grip that I'm going to utilise. Ball slightly above my feet. Aim a little bit right. Oh, poetry in motion. Beautiful.